Welcome back. Well, November is National Adoption Month, Awareness Month, and Brock Sellers from Fullwell Neurofeedback and Counseling joins us now live to talk all things adoption. Brock, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's dive in. Why is November such an important month for us to recognize National Adoption Awareness Month?
Well, it started back in 1976, and it was really originally designed to bring awareness to the need for adoptive families for so many kids in foster care who were not able to return back to their family of origin. And so, and even still now in Alabama, we have between 200 and 300 children who are in foster care needing permanent families. And so that's how it started. And then it's evolved over the years into some other aspects of realizing how important adoption is and the implications for all of that within families.
Now, as people make that decision to adopt, what do they need to know about it? Where do you even begin with this process?
Well, first of all, there's several different types of adoption. The focus with National Adoption Month was about the children in foster care who were needing permanent homes. And so for the most part, these are older children or sibling groups, children with certain needs because of what they've experienced, the childhood adversity. There's a lot of complications that go along with that. And so that's how all of that starts. And there's some information. Children's Aid Society of Alabama is one of the organizations that partners with the state to do training and preparation for that process and to let you know about how to go about all of that. And so they will certainly work with individuals who are interested in learning more about that.
And, obviously it does seem like, a decision that should not be taken lightly by families. What would you say to families that are in this process of maybe considering adoption?
Well, I think first of all, it's important for people to understand that, although it is a beautiful thing and it certainly is something to be celebrated in certain contexts, all adoption is founded in loss. It's founded in separation. It's at its core, there is struggle that is inherent to adoption. So the past, it's really been focused on secrecy and shame. It's not something people talked about. It was something that the reasons that led to adoption or for someone who decided to place their child for adoption, all of those things are things you didn't really want to talk about. There were, there was substance abuse struggles, or people weren't doing what they needed to, or they were having financial struggles and things that was just not something that it was easy to get help for. It's not something people wanted to talk about, and certainly something that people wanted to keep within the family. So now the shift has become, we not only need to let people know that there's a need for adoption and adoptive families, but also that there are a lot of complexities that go along with adoption. There's a lot of loss and rejection and some clinical struggles that adoptees have for their lifetime, if not left supported. And so that's something that's also very important, is what is the experience of the one who's being adopted? What is the experience of that whole network? Because it affects everyone in those circles. And so that's part of this Adoption Month now, is awareness of all the complexities, along with the beauty, but also the fact that it is also a hard road for many families.
I was going to ask you, I was thinking back to a TV show where a child did not know that he was adopted and another cast member let it slip. And there was an episode about it. Do you find that a lot of families aren't telling children? Is there an appropriate age when you could tell a child that they've been adopted?
Oh, that's a great question. I love that. So the rule of thumb that we have kind of in our community is a child should never remember when they found out that they were adopted. So it should just be part of the conversation. Now, many kids in foster care, obviously, they're going to understand that, what's happening, or they need to be, informed of what all's going on, be a part of those conversations. But for children who are adopted at a very young age, who may not remember, that needs to be part of the family conversation. It's also something that really is important with the clinical needs for adoptees as they grow older, is really related to how open was the family when they talked about adoption. Did we talk about what led to it? Did we talk about the birth family? Are we able to discuss things openly? And those things are very tied together, the mental health of adoptive families and their openness around the topic.
Can you talk about the difference between domestic adoptions versus international adoptions? And I guess maybe the differences and the different needs that maybe those families have or see?
Well, there's some differences logistically, and also a lot has to do with the age. A lot has to do with, I mean, there's so many different competing factors that go along with that. I think that, ultimately though, there are some core issues, core struggles that are universal with many adoptive families and adoptees, and so that's one we mentioned already, the loss. But there's also shame and guilt that's involved. Sometimes there are identity struggles that go along. So especially in international adoption, where you have transcultural and intercountry arrangements where children are not in the same culture that they are from originally. So any of those cultural differences come to play. So as kids get older or in transracial situations, interracial families, they have those questions of, okay, I feel different, but I don't feel that different, but I don't know what to make of this, and how do we talk about it, and all of those things. Some families have not really discussed it, or they didn't really know it was a thing, and then as they grow older, they're realizing, wow, I wish we had been more open or curious or talked about these things. And so that's something that is also part of what we do when we're doing adoption competency training, is to help open those conversations, so that no matter whether it was domestic or whether it was international, there's some universal things that we want to be able to support individuals with.
I love that. Now, Brock, if somebody wants more information about adoption, is there a website where they can get more information, or a telephone number that they could call to reach out?
So there's, like I mentioned before, about Children's Aid Society of Alabama. They handle the Alabama connected adoptions for children in foster care who are waiting to have a permanent home. And then there's also a lot of training and support for clinicians and other professionals as well. The Center for Adoption Support and Education has a national focus on supporting therapists, and there's a registry of adoption competent therapists who are in Alabama, but also around the country. And there are a lot of resources for parents too in the Case Training Institute. So I would recommend both of those for resources to learn more, and then also to continue your journey. This is also not just for adoptees. It's not just for adoptive parents. It's really anyone who is supporting children and families. It's also larger than just that immediate group. It's really embodies families where you have relatives, because we have many relatives. We call them kinship adoptions, where children are living with their grandparents, and a lot of the same dynamics that go on clinically. And so kinship families, whether it's interracial adoption, all of the above, it's all, we get support for you.
Wonderful. Well, Brock, we certainly appreciate you joining us today. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, thank you so much.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after this.